of Yud Iyar. Naturally, that is the 10th of Iyar. It marks the Hilula of a famous Moroccan rabbi. His name was Rabbi Yaakov Toledano Z'tl, one of the famous rabbis of his time, respectively. He was born in the English year 1690, passed away, reported over in the year 1772, or around 1771, and so he lived approximately just over 80 years. He would become one of the great rabbis of Meknes, head of Jewish court, Din, as we say, and a prominent Rosh Yeshiva of his time in the 18th century, respectively. Let's explore a few of the highlights of the great rabbi's life. He was born reported over in 1690. His father, I believe, was a famous rabbi. His name was Rabbi Moshe Toledano, and I think it was a rabbinic dynasty in of itself that actually originated from Toledo in Spain, respectively. And after there was a Spanish expulsion, after the year 1492, I believe his forefathers would actually come to Fez over there. And they would live there, in Fez for a specific period of time, it was reported over. Eventually, they were going to move to Meknes. And this great family were among the first rabbis, let's say, to settle inside the city. And they established a yeshiva there. Interesting enough, I think he would go and learn Torah at a young age, and under the auspices of very famous Rabbi Moshe Berdugo. He himself happened to be head of Jewish court of his time, Rosh Yeshiva, and a rabbi of the synagogue of Meknes, especially earlier parts of the 18th century. He was also known as Mashbir, Rabbi Moshe Berdugo, and he actually quotes him, I think, in several occasions in different writings, if I'm not mistaken. And after a short period of time, it will become known that Rav Toledano would become a great Torah scholar over there. And many, many students would come to him asking advice and so on and so forth. Then come on the year 1730, I believe it happened to be, there was the departure of the famous Dayan over there, Rabbi Yaakov Ibn Sur from Meknes, was a great rabbi. We mentioned about him also. He was also a famous Kabbalist, a poet, a rabbi with grandiose sermons. So he would leave that position. And Rabbi Berdugo, it's reported, appointed him as a Dayan in his court. After that, several years later, let's just say, he was appointed to various different public positions he would get. I believe he would become the head of the Chevra Kedisha, it's reported over. And he will have, let's just say, the head of he will become a head Dayan inside the court, respectively. I think it's interesting. I think after Rav Moshe Berdugo passed away, his brother Rabbi Chaim Toledano, who was also another great rabbi, was appointed to the position of the rabbi of the city. So the family in itself really took on the high positions of that vicinity. And so he would also work, I believe, as a shochet, if I'm not mistaken. Remember, many of the great Chachamim of yesteryear would take on various different, let's say, roles. So I think he was in charge in a shechita position over there, respectively. After Rav Moshe Berdugo passed away, we said before, he would take on, let's say, the position to become the rabbi of the city. And this will take on various different, let's just say, important roles over there. Inside the city, he was dealing with realms of many, many different issues over there. He was one of, let's say, the main rabbis, halachic decision makers in Morocco, and many people would really speak about him of the highest praise within regards to his brilliance, within regards to judging various different Talmudic decisions or Torah decisions. And I think rabbis from all over the cities of Morocco, even the great rabbis, would actually come and, let's just say, send him various different she'elot. They actually make a quote within regards to him, Nosed degel ha'ora b'kol arei ha'ma'arab, how the people that will actually come and respect him and come from all over. They passed away on the 10th of Iyar. Naturally, that was around the year 1771-ish, I believe, and he would be buried in Meknes over there. There was a very, very large funeral procession for him. It's reported over one of the governors of the city was so jealous of, let's just say, the great funeral that the person had, and he would end up causing anti-Semitic agitation among the community over there, and I think charge them a penalty or a bribe of some sort. Now, it's actually interesting. After he passed away, I think the famous poet Rabbi David Hassin, he would actually compose a song in his memory. He was like a famous songwriter and singwriter, respectively. So he would actually a famous song would be actually composed in his honor. Okay, now among his descendants, I believe, as reported over there, would have three boys, included Rabbi Moshe, who will become also Rosh Yeshiva, a rabbi in Yeshiva, I believe, in Mecca. It's not 100% sure if he was a Rosh Yeshiva. He was the author of the book, the Ohel Moshe, on the Torah. And his grandson will go on to be, or great-grandson of the rabbi we mentioned about, the great Chacham we've spoken about today, will become Rav Chaviv Toledano, will become the author of the Maglei Tzedek. This was a great book on the Shas, and another great Torah book, the Torah of Ta'am, which is very different drashot. Another one of his sons was Rav Baruch, another great rabbi, Rav Baruch Toledano, who I think we've mentioned about on various occasions before, a Dayan. He was a Morah Hara, an instructor, an educator in Meknes. Another one was Rav Yehuda. Now among his Talmudim, most notably, was his grandson, Rav Moshe Mimram, respectively. He happened to be a Rosh Yeshiva and a Dayan in Meknes in Morocco during the 18th century. Rav Moshe Toledano, the author of the Melechet HaKodesh, and Rav Shlomo Toledano, let's just say Piskei Mahar Shat. And then his son, Rav Moshe Toledano, was another one who's Talmudim, who go on naturally, as we said before, to become the great rabbis of the Yeshiva of Meknes, respectively. Now, he himself would write great Torah author books, let's just say, including the Ohel Yaakov. This was a book on the Torah in of itself. I think expoundations of Rashi and other, I think it was great commentators. I think this ended up in 3 volumes. Now, another great Torah book was Ohel Yaakov. This was on the Torah, on various different perushes, let's say expoundations of Rashi, the great commentator. Then the Brit Yaakov, Chidushim, on 22 Mesechtet of Shas, so really encompassing Shas, especially the various different Mesachtot, including Shabbat, Pesachim, Rosh Hashanah, Yoma, Sukkah, Moed Katan, Ta'anit, Megillah, Ketubot, Nedarim, Sotah, Gitin, Kitushin, Bava Kama, Bava Metzia, Sanhedrin, Kot, Shavuot, Avodah Zarah, Cholin, Menuchot, Venida, these different, let's just say, important tractates in the Talmud. He would also do a perush on Agdat Hashas, which I think would be in a manuscript form in supporting order. Then also a perush al Shulchan Aruch and Tor, will also go once again in Michtav Yad, manuscript form, and a Shut Maharit, which was in manuscript also, various different questions and answers on various different topics. Now, he was a famous rabbi. He was a Rosh Yeshiva and part of the rabbinic dynasty of the famous Toledano family. As we said before, he was about 82 years of age at the time he passed away. Don't forget to light candles in his memory. Our friends, we're a community here. We're learning about the great rabbis of yesteryear. And if you happen to be descended from any of the great Chachamim we're speaking about, please send me an email. I would love to hear more from you. If you feel anyone of your friends is interested in watching these videos, share the videos to those people respectively. Please watch over. We're a community, we're growing, and we're going from strength to strength. And well done to all of you fantastic people, all great listeners out there wanting to learn the wisdom of the great Chachamim of yesteryear.